Welcome to the deep dive. Our whole thing here is taking interesting sources and pulling out the insights that really matter for you.
Yeah, distilling it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And today, we're digging into a YouTube transcript. It's a lecture by Dr. Yasser Al-Hazimi, originally in Arabic.
Right. The title translates roughly to something about stopping wasting time, regaining control. Basically, a life-changing talk.
It sounds ambitious. Now, it was in Arabic, but we've gone through the translation.
And our mission really is just to unpack Dr. Al-Hazimi's core strategies and ideas on time, personal growth, and, well, living meaningfully. We want to make it accessible for you.
So where does he start? It seems pretty fundamental.
He starts strong. He basically says, nothing changes you like changing your relationship with time.
Wow, okay. That's a big claim right off the bat.
It is. And he immediately grounds it by talking about, well, the clock ticking, every second gets us closer to the end, makes you stop and think.
Definitely puts things in perspective. And then he talks about accountability.
Yes, exactly. Accountability for that time. He mentions these 4 questions we'll supposedly face. And one is specifically about his life and what did he spend it.
So a direct challenge to reflect. How are we spending our days?
Right. Are they just slipping by, or did you achieve something, well, meaningful, even something small?
He contrasts that, doesn't he? The sort of miserable day versus...
Yeah, versus a day where you did something good. Could be as simple as tidying your room, he suggests. But that small act lifts your spirits.
That makes sense. Those small wins matter. It's not always about huge accomplishments.
Precisely. So for you, the learner, it's about recognizing that power in small, deliberate actions. They build momentum.
Okay, so building on that value of time, he then zooms in on a specific age group, right? 18 to 25.
He does. He really zeroes in on this period. Calls it a time for intense effort, hard work.
An investment, kind of.
Exactly. So the seed's now, he says, and you'll enjoy things more later. Ease comes after the effort during these years.
And the flip side is problematic. Too much leisure now.
Yeah, he warns against that. He suggests that taking it too easy in your youth can actually lead to hardship later on. It's counterintuitive for some, maybe.
He uses an analogy, doesn't he? Something about a spring.
Oh, right, the spring. The more you compress it now with effort, with work, the higher it's going to jump later.
That's a great visual. Reframes the hustle.
It really does. And he backs it up by saying there are just so many opportunities out there, especially for young people who are capable and, willing to work.
He mentions people holding multiple jobs,
Yeah.
even outperforming older managers.
Yeah, he gives examples like that. It's about harnessing that youthful energy and potential, not letting it just dissipate.
Which ties into his wider point about progress, about not stagnating. He uses a language thing here in Arabic.
Yeah, the linguistic analogy. It's clever. He talks about changing a letter in the Arabic word for develop. The idea being that development needs continuous active input, not passive.
Okay, so always be adjusting, always be working on it.
Right. And then the ship metaphor, new ships just sitting in the harbor, they rust.
But the ones constantly out sailing, they last longer.
That's the idea. Activity preserves, inactivity leads to decay. Applies to us too, our skills, our drive.
And the wild animal comparison reinforces that, right? The lion.
Yeah, the lion has to keep striving, outrun the slowest gazelle to eat, outrun the fastest lion to, survive. It's constant effort, offense, and defense.
It paints a picture of life requiring that ongoing effort.
Which he contrasts sharply with zoo animals. They have security, food, but often shorter lifespans, less vitality. His point is we aren't actually made for a life completely free of challenges. It weakens us.
That's interesting. It connects to that hadith he mentions about paradise and hardships.
Exactly. Paradise is surrounded by difficulties, hellfire by desires. He uses the example of getting up for Fajr prayer, overcoming that desire for comfort in bed.
So choosing the harder right over the easier wrong builds strength.
Builds that inner fortitude, yeah. And he even mentions another hadith, Allah loving sneezing, which is active, and disliking yawning, linked to laziness.
So, activity, striving, it's valued. Being a strong believer isn't just physical strength.
Not at all. It's strength and faith, action, mind, spirit, the whole package.
Okay, so let's circle back to that age 18 window he mentioned. He sees it as a prime time for development.
Absolutely. Because you typically have that combination of energy, optimism, and crucially today, access to so much knowledge and tech.
Right. The world's at your fingertips, in a way.
And he specifically mentions things like remote work now, the ability to build something, even financially, from home. The landscape has changed.
Then he talks about belief, iman, How does he illustrate that?
He uses a great little story, losing your phone in the car.
Okay.
Well, if you just think it might be there, you'll look a bit. But if you know it's there, you have that certainty.
We'll tear the car apart if you have to.
Exactly, that level of conviction. He connects that to seeking your livelihood, your risk. Believing Allah is the provider fuels your perseverance in searching for opportunities.
That makes sense. You don't just give up easily if you truly believe.
Right, which leads him to the story of Ibrahim bin Adam, the bird feeding the blind bird.
Which sounds like an argument against striving, initially. Just trust.
It could seem that way, but the crucial part is Ibrahim bin Adam's question afterward.
Which was?
He asks something like, are you happy being the blind bird, the one receiving, or would you rather be the sighted bird, the one giving?
Okay. That completely flips it. It's about agency.
Totally. It challenges you. Do you want to be dependent, or do you want to be a source of good, a source of provision for others?
So reliance on God doesn't mean passivity.
Not at all. It means striving, becoming a cause for baraka, that blessing, that abundance through your own efforts. Life doesn't really reward sitting back.
This connects nicely to what he says about inner character versus outer actions.
Yes, the ipuyi and ipuye.
Can you break those down quickly?
Sure. Hasan al-Sirra is your outward conduct, your reputation, what people see. Hasan al-Sirra is your inner state, your intentions, your core goodness.
And the inner state is key.
He argues it's what's truly felt, what attracts blessings, what people see is important, but what's inside. That's deeper. It has to align.
Makes sense. And he links daily success to one's connection with Allah. Mentions night prayers.
Yes, Jomalayo. He references verses suggesting that this spiritual practice builds the strength needed to handle difficult tasks or heavy words during the day. It's like spiritual fuel.
And he redefines baraka in a really interesting way, too.
Yeah, it's not just effort in, result out. It's starting the day believing the return isn't directly proportional to the effort. Meaning small actions done with the right intention and connection can yield huge, divinely blessed results.
Like the examples he uses, Musa and Maryam.
Exactly. Moses striking the sea with a staff, Miriam shaking a palm tree trunk while heavily pregnant. The physical effort was minimal, almost symbolic.
But the outcome was miraculous.
Right. So the lesson for you, the learner, is take the action, do your part, however small it seems, then trust that Allah can bring immense results from it.
So purify the heart, connect, then exert your best effort.
That's the essence, which leads him to talk about rest and comfort, or rather, the danger of seeking too much comfort.
Right. He quotes Ibn al-Qayyim.
Whoever seeks comfort misses comfort. The idea being that real ease, genuine satisfaction, it comes after you've put in the work.
Like that saying from Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz he mentioned, if we avoided every hard thing,
nothing would get done. Not in the world, not in faith. Progress requires tackling difficulty.
So aiming for a super comfy, easy job and life, that's a trap.
He calls it the first hole in the ship of ambition. Pretty strong imagery. Complacency sinks you.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, he also talks a lot about supplication, dua, and repentance.
Immensely powerful concepts for him. He stresses that Allah listens to those in distress. Doesn't matter how outwardly pious you seem.
That's helpful. No barriers.
He encourages having good expectations of Allah, yes. Don't put up mental blocks. Keep that channel open. Pray sincerely.
And the story of Prophet Suleiman fits here.
Perfectly. Solomon has a moment of, let's say, negligence, forget something important, but what does he do?
Turns back to Allah immediately.
Instantly. Repents, makes this incredibly powerful dua, and Allah answers him. It shows that turning back, repenting, is beloved to Allah.
Which ties into acceptance, doesn't it? Trusting the plan.
Yes, read Bila bil qada wal qadar. Accepting destiny, the good and the seemingly bad, knowing ultimate good is from Allah.
It's about finding peace, even when things are tough.
And adopting that mindset. Everything that passed was good, everything coming will be good. Trusting the bigger picture.
He uses the mother analogy.
Yeah, how mothers want the best for their kids, even if the kids don't understand why they can't have candy for dinner. Allah's wisdom and mercy are infinitely greater. Trust that.
That personal story about the exam advice is good too.
Right, telling the worried child, you put in the effort. If the result isn't what you aimed for, accept that outcome. The effort itself has value. The journey matters.
What about messing up, like sinning knowingly, then feeling bad?
He addresses that directly. Says the regret itself, that feeling bad, that's rewarded. It's the first step back.
And Allah doesn't get tired of forgiving.
That's the hadith he quotes. Allah doesn't tire until you tire of seeking forgiveness. So keep turning back, keep repenting, intending not to repeat it.
He contrasts Adam and Iblis here too.
Right, crucial difference. Adam sinned, yes, but he repented immediately, sought forgiveness. Iblis sinned, but his pride, his arrogance stopped him from repenting. That was his downfall, the insistence on the sin.
Okay, that's powerful. Let's move to learning. He emphasizes lifelong learning, avoiding stagnation.
Hugely important for him. He uses that analogy of the 3 cups. Remember that.
Vaguely. One's upside down.
Right, the upside down cup, arrogance, can't receive anything new. The full cup, complacency, thinks it knows everything already.
And the third one?
The cup being offered, open, willing to learn, ready to receive. That's the attitude we need.
And that quote, knowledge isn't attained by the arrogant or the shy.
Tells you the barriers right there. Arrogance closes you off. Complacency, maybe from past success, makes you think you don't need to learn more. And shyness.
Stops you from asking questions.
Exactly. Stops you seeking clarification, admitting you don't know something. He even mentions how sometimes people in positions of authority feel it's beneath them to learn from others.
That ties into what Umar said. Gain understanding before you become leaders.
Yes. Leadership demands ongoing learning. Look at the great scholars he mentions, Imam Ahmad, Ibn al-Mubarak.
They never stop seeking knowledge.
Never, because reality changes constantly. If you stop learning, the world moves on without you. You become outdated.
He does value street smarts too, though, right? Life experience.
Oh, absolutely. Learning isn't just books. It's formal study, yes, but also learning from others' experiences and, crucially, reflecting on your own experiences.
He distinguishes between different types of knowers. The specialist.
Right, the muktas, the academic specialist, then the kabir, the expert with hands-on experience, and the mutam, the interested person, the enthusiast.
And each brings something different to the table.
Totally. Theory from the specialist, practical wisdom from the expert, passion and maybe fresh angles from the enthusiast. He advises learning from all kinds, the successful, the affected, even those who failed.
And eventually, you synthesize all that.
You build on the reading, the consultations with your own experience, and then you can develop your own insights, maybe even become a source for others.
But there's a warning here, isn't there? About just copying others.
A big one. Don't just blindly mimic someone's success story. You have to consider their unique situation.
Their skills, their challenges.
Their challenges, their innate abilities, maybe even divine help or luck factors you can't replicate.
The dancing chicks analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see the chicks dancing and think, I'll just make my chicks dance like that. But you don't see the hot plate underneath making them jump.
So look deeper than the surface actions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Consider the unseen stuff. The perseverance, the resilience, the struggles they overcame, the support systems they had, maybe even blessings you aren't aware of. Learn, but adapt. Don't just copy.
He still sees formal education as a good path, though.
Often the shortest, most efficient path for many, yes, university, etc., but not the only path. Experiential learning is valid, just maybe harder, longer. And he values those informal learning settings too, the discussions, the mashalis.
So the takeaway is really about making learning a lifestyle.
Yes, like exercise for physical health, continuous learning is vital for intellectual health, especially because the world changes so fast.
You get left behind quickly otherwise.
He uses the example of graduates, someone who graduated recently versus someone 10 years out who hasn't kept learning. The knowledge gap can be huge.
And for leaders, it's even more critical, that leadership paralysis.
Al-Qiyadi Bishalal. If leaders aren't up to date, they lose credibility, they can't lead effectively, they become paralyzed.
Okay, finally, he dives into the training sector itself. Some challenges there.
Yeah, he gets practical about why training sometimes fails. First off, it's not a magic wand, not the staff of Moses, Asa Musa, that solves everything.
Right, it's just one tool.
And often, he argues, not the most important one. He breaks down problems into environment info, resources, incentives, and individual skills, attributes, motivation.
And training mostly addresses
Skills, knowledge. But if the problem is you don't have the right software, or the pay structure demotivates everyone, or there are no resources, training won't fix that.
Or if the individual just isn't motivated or has other stuff going on.
Exactly. Personal circumstances, lack of drive. These limit training's impact. He mentions some pretty sobering stats, actually, about how little training gets applied back on the job.
And barriers from the trainee side, too, like not believing they can learn it.
Yeah, negative self-belief, feeling they don't have time, maybe the training style doesn't suit them, lots of factors. And then there's the manager.
The manager's role. Crucial.
Huge. Are they supportive? Do they give opportunities to practice the new skills? Or are they neutral, or worse, discouraging? He even mentions change-resistant managers who actively block new methods.
So for training to work, you need the whole system aligned.
Pretty much. Good selection in the first place, effective training design, then motivation, resources, support from management, and fair evaluation. It's holistic.
He uses the Moose's story again, choosing someone strong and trustworthy.
Yeah, but points out that even then you need clear agreements, incentives, the right environment for that person to succeed. Just hiring a good person isn't enough.
And the evaluation piece.
Yeah.
Most places just check if people like the training.
That's often the case. The Kirkpatrick model looks deeper learning, behavior change, actual results, but most stop at level 1, reaction. Did they enjoy the lunch?
Okay, wow. That was a comprehensive tour.
It really was. So wrapping up, Dr. Alazimi leaves us with some powerful core messages. The absolute centrality of time, the need for intense effort, especially when young, learning is a lifelong pursuit, the force of belief and intention, and aligning who we are inside with what we do outside.
A lot to chew on. And maybe for you, the learner, the question becomes, reflecting on all this, where could one small shift in perspective about time or learning or effort or trust make the biggest difference in your life right now? Just something to consider.
Definitely. We hope this deep dive has given you some valuable food for thought and maybe some actionable takeaways from Dr. Alhazimi's work. Until next time.